What is up, rockers? Welcome back here to another Rise of Kingdoms content. In today's video, we have a special guest, which is Puddle Cakes. And today, we're actually going to talk about free-to-play stuff. So we're going to talk about the free-to-play must-have equipments, and you're going to hear our opinions on what you should get so that you can succeed here in Rise of Kingdoms. Now, make sure that as I introduce Puddle Cakes in here, guys, you can't hear me yet. Hi, Puddle Cakes. No, he can't. Go and check his channel out. Follow his YouTube channel. So his channel will be right here, and it will also be in the description below. So go ahead to his channel and subscribe and check out his contents as well, because they are very helpful so you can have more knowledge for Rise of Kingdoms. So let's go and get him here and talk to us. What is up, Puddle Cakes? Welcome back to our collaboration again.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Now, we're going to roll the intro. Let's go. All right, Puddle Cakes. Today, we're going to talk about the free-to-play must-have for the accessory. And let's get into the blacksmith in here today. And let's get into the accessory. Now, we've kind of talked through things in here before we start recording. And we're going to just dive down into it and talk about how can free-to-play first gather materials. Because, I mean, we can talk about all the equipment's in here, but if they can't gather materials, you know, what will happen, right? You can't really craft things. So for me, I have this in here as daily production. And what else do you think where can else we get some materials in Rise of Kingdoms?
So the other one, of course, is the events.
Yes.
I think that Ceroli is an amazing event. I think I got like something like 10 to 15 epic pieces yesterday total, just from our events that we did together.
So yes, by defeating all these bosses, we're gonna be able to get some of these materials in here. So for when you open these chests though from this Roller Crisis, you're gonna get actually equipments, blueprint choices here. But really just participating and doing all these boss takes a little bit of a grind, but it's doable, and you get these materials. Now, there's also, what is that called where we get invaded by the city? The Shadow Legions, right?
Yep.
That's another way for us to get some materials. The Golden Kingdom as well. We get some there as well, right? I don't think I have chests for the... Yeah, I don't have chests for that anymore. Another thing is doing Sunset Canyon as well. I think this is one of those really easy way to gain materials, and I think, you know, I'm sure you do it every day. You don't skip like I do sometime.
Yeah, and then you also have the things that you can do, like farming barbs in KVK.
Yes,
which
definitely.
Is a massive part of it. And then camps. We can't forget camps, because I made a video like 3 months ago on how many gems you can get from doing camps twice a day, and you could pretty much farm like something like 25 to 50,000 gems a week, which is huge for a free-to-play.
Yeah, that is definitely huge. Camps and keeps, right? So doing these will help you. And plus, as we're going into the video, the camp is actually the highlight here as well, because there's an item here, the accessory in camps. Guys, in the viewers, if you already figured out what item this is, what equipment this is, leave it down in the comment section below. So yeah, so let's go and talk about it now. I'm sure you guys have figured it out already. We're gonna talk about the #1 pick that we have chosen for the best accessories for free to play is definitely the Horn of Fury. No, I'm just kidding. It is the Silent Trial. Now, um, Puddle Cakes, tell me your experience with the Silent Trial.
I hate it. No, I'm just kidding. No. So, Silent Trial is an excellent item, and I think it's underrated because you could pretty much put it on 5 marches and you can murder ball someone, and you are literally taking off 50 energy per hit. 50 energy, 50 rage.
50 rage, yeah, 50 rage. Yeah, so I mean, like we just did some testing earlier with barbs. So we fought, together this level 22 barb, and we both saw that there was decrease of rage due to Silent Trial, and I was defeating, some of the barbs as well by myself and with my Lohar and as well as Guan Yu. Also saw reduction of rage, and since my Guan Yu actually has a crit Silent Trial, it was decreasing 13 rage per turn. So imagine, right? If you have 5 Silent Trials that has 13, so you're reducing about 65 in each turn, which is really, really good. Like you're really gonna, what is that called? Like pin down or and disable the opponent that you have. And as a free to play, this is something that is super doable to obtain the Silent Trial. I mean, a lot of free to plays are actually more active than the spenders, and with that concept, right? You can definitely get ahead of the spenders, because even me, like as a spender, I only have 2 Silent Trial, and it's really difficult for me because of the time as well. There's a lot of free to play that has a good amount of time, and they're able to really grind for it. Like I think you only have 1, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't. I I gave away and let other people take them all the time.
Yeah. So it's really a good free to play, because as a whale, I mean, we both have spent into the game. I mean, for us, right, the equipments that we're looking for are legendary equipments, right? So because that's what fits for our strategy, right? I'm not saying that the epics are useless, but I'm saying it's an easy item to obtain for players who puts a lot of effort into trying to get them. So, with that being said, right, there's 2 slots um, in the equipment page for the commander. So we established right away that Silent Trial is the best epic equipment to put for free-to-play players, because they can easily reprimand. Is that the right term, reprimand? Or they can easily like disable a whale by this. It's gonna hurt the whales not able to cast rage, or not able to cast skill. Sorry. The next thing though that we've discussed, let me you can do the honor of the next one, guys, in the comment section below. Do you guys know, before Puddle Cakes reveal it, what is the next best equipment for free to play? All right, go ahead.
Well, we talked about it and we went over the information and data, and we believe it's the ancient stratagems.
Yes.
And the reason why is because if you look at the item, it gives you 3% more troop capacity, which essentially gives you at 210,000, like 6,000 more troops. That ends up buffing your stats up. So you basically get 3% more uh, health, 3% more defense, and 3% more attack. I mean, that puts you on a different playing field. If you're fighting against 210,000 troops with 216, it makes your troops stronger.
Exactly. And the way we can get this items for free to play, they might need to save some gems to obtain this, but if they're doing the camps, the keeps that we talked about, they could definitely gather this, and they gotta watch that video that you just made, so they can understand and how to get more gems and to be able to participate on the event. I forgot what the right name of the event, but it's one of those that you have to dig. I think it's called the archaeological dig. That's the name. They need to participate and play that event and get the ancient stratagem, because it's such a great value that the free-to-plays are missing for accessory. I mean, this is of course, this is an accessory. This is something that you build around your gear. After you've built your primary gear, you want to build into your accessory so you have a full set of gear for your your commanders. And one thing that we need to tell the free to plays as well is that it takes time. So a lot of free to plays that I've realized, I've seen comments. I feel like a lot of them kind of like want an instant availability of items right away and get them right away. What they need to understand is that it's a process, it's a grind. It takes a few weeks maybe, depending on your activity, to obtain certain items in Rise of Kingdoms.
Definitely. And I think another thing that should be open for discussion is that accessories work really, really well in one of your favorite gaming modes, which is Champions of Olympia.
Oh yeah.
And you can use the ancient stratagems. So if you're a tier 4 player, you don't have the best equipment, but you show up there with 216,000 troops, that helps you immensely.
Exactly. And what you get from the Champions of Olympia, if you keep having some victories, you get 2 legendary commander sculptures. This is, I think it's going to be like every week anyway. So that's insane. I mean, you know, getting 2 legendary commander sculptures, and because you have really good accessories, it allows you to win as well. But in Champions of Olympia, since we just touched that topic, another viable accessory for that is super cheap for the Cavs player is that flag, this Call of the Loyal. I want to kind of highlight this item because I have it on Tao Tao. Fuck. And we able to march around fast and be able to capture some location as well. So I want to highlight the Call of the Loyal as well. So what other accessories do you think is good for F2P? Because I'm looking at here, there's really nothing else. Like there are, there's the rings and stuff, but they're like, not really directly for PvP.
Yeah, I think if you touch more on the flag too, march speed is so important for a tier 4 or not as strong, full legendary equipment player, because that march speed allows them to run away. And we've been learning that in something like Champions of Olympia, where if they use the march speed skill, they can get away and they've saved the rest of their troops that they have. So I
Exactly.
think I think that's one big topic. Uh, we didn't really talk too much about Delane's amulet, though. We talked more about Silent Trial. What do you think
Oh,
about Delane's?
oh yes, you're right. For me, I have the Delane's amulet because I was able to obtain it, so I craft it. Uh, I like the Delane's amulet because it's a incoming counterattack damage is reducing that. So right now I have it on Ramses because I have full equipment with legendary with Artemisia, but I used to put it on Artemisia because of that defensive ability with Artemisia. But the Delane's amulet, typically, in most cases, I would put it into my tank, which is either Richard or Constantine. But since I don't use him on Champions of Olympia, I put it on Ramses instead. But I like it being on a tank because the tank will absorb so many targets, and that counterattack damage is going to reduce it from all sides, which is really nice. And I like the topic that we've talked about as well about these ancient stratagem. So there's 2 choices. I would prefer the stratagem over the Delane's amulet. But what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think if I went bare bones on like my farm account, I would be farming the the camps and the keeps every single day, twice a day probably, and I would farm my gems up, and I would work on Silent Trial and Ancient Stratagems on everything. And once I get my accessories made up, probably save up for something that allows me to debuff someone from the legendary equipment from KVK. But that would be something that would take probably like a year for a free to play to make.
Yeah, it's gonna definitely take for free F2P, and depending on their activity level. right? If they're gonna, if you're super diligent on doing the camps and keeps, you can definitely like, outrun somebody who mediumly spend money into the game, because you do get a lot. Like for me, I've stopped buying the bundles, and I think a free to play can definitely outpace me with equipments eventually, because I haven't been doing those little things that I should be doing. And
Okay. After tests in our last KVK, we did come across someone that was farming barbs every single day and all day, and they were getting at least one legendary piece of materials per day. And this was someone that didn't do anything except for hand out resources and barb. And their role was really important to our kingdom, but they got I would say probably 40 to 45 legendary pieces of material just from farming barbs.
yeah, so exactly. I mean, you get a lot of value just by defeating barbs, and not just materials. And in the KVK, you get potentially a few drops of gems and some speed ups as well. But another option that we need to talk about is like they can also purchase um materials in the shop if they really want to. This is an option. It's not like it's a mandatory. But imagine you get the free ones for the normal chest ones, but if the free to play decided, hey, I want to buy some materials because it's more than gems event. Another thing that they can do is really participate on gem producing events and gem producing activities. Like right now in my bag, considering, I mean, if I discount the 650, I would say I would at least have about 80, 90K amount of gems worth in my bag, maybe, or at least maybe 60 above. This is definitely just by grinding barbs. I have 1,000 of the 10 in here, and participating with Arc of Osiris, other events as well that would generate some gems and farming gems, and as well as like even the MGE, just by doing the bare minimum to get the gems. It will help you out as well. You have anything to add?
No, I agree. I honestly agree, like with everything there. That's perfect.
Okay, that's really good. Oh, all right. So kind of to wrap this up, we have solidify the conclusion in here that Silent Trial would be ranked number 1, Stratagem ranked number 2, and I'd say Delane ranked number 3, and then maybe Delane 3 and 4 with the Call of the Loyal, because Call of the Loyal, you want that in specific march, maybe for like cavalry. You can even put it on infantry because they're hella slow, but if you're gonna go for infantry march, you can do for the Wind Scar. It's going to give you 8% infantry marching speed. I want to tackle a few things in here as well as going through this video. There's also accessories for resources, and we kind of can't forget about the accessory for resources. So this is a good one because this is a totally different materials. So we're going to be using bone. So if you have an excess, right, you should be forging something that's going to help you for gathering speed. Now, which one do you think is better? Gathering speed 10% or get extra resources from gathering plus 5%?
Me personally, because I don't always gather on I don't always get my gatherers out on time, I would say the more resources. But if you are a very strict person and you are always on top of your farm, I mean, I would say that the speed would be better.
Yeah. So if you're like setting up timers, you're really like OCD about your farmers, this is the best equipment for you. But really the best thing is that since this is bone, craft boat. Imagine that. You can farm so quick, and you get extra, and you just have a lot of resources. And you know what? If your farm account is really good at defeating camps and keeps as well, you'll be able to do this as well, because you potentially get some bones from there and do all these events that we talked about earlier. Then you can definitely be able to obtain these gathering equipment. Another way for us to gain equipment, just kind of want to touch this back. Of course, the golden key There's many events. We don't want to go through this, but there's many events where you can get golden key as well. And by opening that, you can get potentially more of some of the equipments that we just tackled and talked about, and as well as materials as well. So, besides that, guys, I think we've helped you guys out in here to determine what is the best equipment for free to play. So don't forget, guys, to head into Puddle Cake's channel and check out some of his contents there. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to both of our channels to support us, help us out with the analytics and everything, guys. Anyway, I want to say peace out. And Puddle Cakes, you have any last words for the viewers?
Thanks for stopping by.
Awesome. Adios, guys.